Hey y'all, I'm Sarah Wall in the Fox 10 newsroom. Thanks so much for joining us today as we go in depth. And today we are talking about the SS United States. This has been a favorite topic of mine over the last, since March of last year, to look at, to see it as I'm driving on the road, to go check it out, get as close to it as you can, and also to kind of see all the work that's been done on it. So we have a big update to tell you about. We now have a timeline in place, or a timeline that's expected for when the SS United States is going to be leaving Mobile and heading into the Gulf to be sunk about 22 miles off of Destin Fort Walton Beach. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the plans. We're going to talk about the ship's history and the trip to Mobile and what's going to be, what's going to become of the ship and a museum that they have planned, all the fun things that go along with the SS United States. So talking about what's going on with the ship right now, a big update on the SS United States. The world-famous ship has been docked in Mobile since March of last year. So it's been in Mobile for a while. You've probably seen it when you're driving by. It is so impressive. And as you've seen it, it's kind of changed in its structure, right? The smokestacks and things have been removed. We'll talk about all of that too as well. But Okaloosa County officials say that their goal is for the ship, the vessel, to leave Mobile in April to become the world's largest artificial reef. For the past year, the historic vessel has undergone tedious work to prepare her to be sunk 22 miles west off of Destin Fort Walton Beach, which will be her final resting place. She's going to be an artificial reef, one of the biggest in the world. The process did include removing 200 fuel and oil tanks to an environmentally safe area. And we did talk with the folks of Okaloosa County. Obviously, they are very excited, and kind of here's what they had to say.
We understand the history surrounding this vessel. While some folks did not want to see her sink, this is part of the next generation, the next phase of the SS United States life, and she's going to be enjoyed by divers, anglers, and enthusiasts for years to come.
All right, so the SS United States looking like in April is when the ship will be leaving Mobile. Okaloosa County says it plans to stream the reefing live on Destin Fort Walton Beach's YouTube channel. They also say they're going to have some in-person viewing parties across Okaloosa County, also in Mobile. We don't know the exact deployment date as of yet. The Coast Guard is going to do some final inspections as soon as the weather is, permitting and stuff. That will help determine the exact deployment date. So the SS United States, you may remember, arrived in Mobile back in March. And we have some video to show you. This is it leaving Philadelphia. So it started in Philadelphia and made its way to Mobile in March. The SS United States arrived in Alabama on March the 3rd following a 12-day tow from Philadelphia's Delaware River, where it had spent nearly 3 decades. And that tow, you can see that here. There are tugboats that are involved in this as well. They went 1,800 miles from her berth in Philadelphia all the way to Mobile. And, this is a record-breaking ship in terms of speed. When it was an ocean liner, it was the fastest ocean liner to go across the ocean, right? It set a record, the Atlantic speed record for an ocean liner. And they say, following along in that, footsteps from what she had done when she was carrying people, she actually made this trip faster than they expected. But y'all remember these pictures? This is video from the tow ship. This is Captain Mike Vinnick and his crew of the ocean-going tugboat Vinnick 6. They're the ones that towed the SS United States all the way from Philadelphia to Mobile. And I think these images are amazing, right? Remember the ones that, we have some from at nighttime that you could see as well, but the rough waves and the surf, and you could see the ship just kind of bouncing around there. But she is absolutely so impressive. So in the spirit of her record-breaking history, she's called America's flagship. She actually concluded her journey to Mobile from Philadelphia faster than anticipated. That was the first time that you're looking at here, was the first time she had moved through the waves in 28 years. And along the journey, we saw boats and we saw people along, along land. everybody lining up to just get a look at the SS United States as she made her way on her kind of second to last journey, because she will be making one more as she goes out to off the coast of Destin Fort Walton Beach to be sunk. And again, this is Captain Mike Vinnick and his crew of the ocean-going tugboat Vinnick 6. They are the ones that did move her from one place to the other. Well, since she's been in Mobile, there's been a lot of work that's been done to get her ready to be sunk. Because as you can imagine, an ocean liner is going to have a lot of things on board that may not be, copacetic to be sunk and to be in the water. So they've been doing a lot of work, extensive preparation for the sinking. And again, it will be the world's largest artificial reef. So some of the things that they've been doing, cleaning and removal. The ship has been cleaned to remove hazardous materials. So we're talking about things like non-metal parts and, of course, fuel. We mentioned that that's one of the big things that they were focused on. They removed 200 fuel and oil tanks to make her environmentally friendly, right? They don't want to sink her and have oil leak or fuel leak. So they did spend a lot of time removing all of that. They've also removed the aft stack and the last remaining onboard propeller, among other things. And this is actually video of them removing some pieces from the ship. And it's pretty amazing to watch how they were able to do that, right? This is a massive ship, y'all. This ship is bigger than the Titanic. It was huge. It's still huge. It's just, we're seeing pieces of it be removed. They also looked at the structural integrity of the ship to restore it. The ship had been in Philadelphia for 3 decades and it hadn't been sailed. It hadn't been used. It kind of had just been waiting for whatever its next destination or next, trip was going to be. So that was a long time to sit there. So they had to work on the ship's structural integrity. They tested it to ensure it can withstand the journey, right? It needs to get from Mobile to Destin Fort Walton Beach out there in the middle of the water. So the stability tests conducted by a naval architect and engineer, and then those were accepted by the Coast Guard, because we have to make sure that it is safe to not only go to the destination and then to be sunk. It's going to be sunk off the coast of Destin Fort Walton Beach at a depth of about 180 feet or 55 meters. The top decks are going to be about 60 feet from the surface, and officials say that that will be making it accessible to divers. They really looked at this too because they wanted to make sure environmentally, not only was this a good idea to sink it due to the fact that it, had all that fuel and it had some wires and it had plastic and all that kind of thing as well, they needed to make sure it was safe. But they say the project aims to create a new habitat for marine life, attracting divers and anglers from around the world. They think it's going to have a direct economic impact of more than $3 million per year. So they're expecting to have a lot of people come and check it out, to fish around it, to dive around it, all of that as well, because it's expected to bring a lot of people in. And just to give you an idea of what the ship looked like and some of the things that have been taken off of the SS United States is we want to take a look at the kind of the blueprint for the ship, right? So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up so we can see what the ship looked like. You can see it there. That's all the people gathered everywhere all along the journey to get a look at the SS United States. It is so impressive as it was being towed into Mobile, and it was just amazing to see, and a lot of people did come out, and the people came from all over the country, and some people coming from all over the world to get a glimpse of it while it's been in port in Mobile. Even though it's being worked on, you couldn't get onto it, but you could stand on the other side of that fence. My family and I did that, taking some pictures as well so that we could get a look at it. But the SS United States is absolutely amazing, right? It's the world's fastest ocean liner. At the time that she was built, she was a marvel of technology. They call her now a living icon of the American dream. Entirely made in America by more than 3,000 people. They had workers doing that. She debuted in 1952 as the most powerful, modern, and advanced liner ever built. She, again, smashed the transatlantic speed record in her maiden voyage, and she was, really pretty to see as well. So here's what she actually looks like when she was in her sailing days. You could get a good look at her here. And some of the things that have been removed. We've removed the propellers, which is number 2. So the propellers have been removed. That's something that's been removed. They've also removed, obviously, the lifeboats and things like that. They've also removed the funnels, and I'll go back up here and show you the funnels are number 6. So we had that video to show you of the funnels being removed, and that's what was happening there. They're massive though, right? There is going to be a new use for these funnels. They're going to be part of the new SS United States museum that's going to be built, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So you will see those funnels once again. They will be something that will be on display so people can see. And I look forward to going there. There's a propeller on the from the ship that was removed as well. This was a day that they are kind of a succession of days where they were getting a lot of work done and removing pieces of the ship that wouldn't be good to be in the water for, eternity. But I do look forward to going to this museum and seeing just how big those funnels are right in real life, right? Standing next to one and just seeing how massive they are. Because remember, this ship is bigger than the Titanic. So these are the funnels right here that you just saw being removed. This is a side version, a side look at it, and this is a look from above. And a lot of these pieces that this is pointing to, these red lines are pointing to, are the things that have been removed. They also removed the radar mast, the navigation bridge, they removed the sports deck, they removed a lot of things of the SS United States. But it's also neat to look back at pictures of what she looked like when she was actually sail-worthy, voyage-worthy. There's some of the lifeboats and all of that. It doesn't look like that now, right? Because she sat for a long time. But back in the day when she was sailing in the 50s and the 60s, she was a pretty majestic-looking ship. And she carried a lot of pretty famous people. She carried presidents, she carried movie stars. They went all, rode on the SS United States. There are some facts about the ship that are kind of interesting as well. She's more than 100 feet longer than the Titanic, which is pretty amazing, right? The Titanic is one of those ships that we think of as being massive. Well, she is more than 100 feet longer than the Titanic. And they did offer some tours when the SS United States first got here. You couldn't get on the ship, but you could get up close and around the ship. And this is what one of those tours looked like. So you could kind of get an idea of how massive the ship was. And when we looked at those pictures just a minute ago, we can pull those up again, you can see the difference and how she looks now than how she did back then. But on her maiden voyage, the SS United States shattered the transatlantic speed record in both directions. She was the first American ship in 100 years to capture the coveted Blue Riband Award, which is the awarded to the fastest transatlantic ocean liner. And y'all, she still holds the record for being the fastest ocean liner. Now, we know the cruise ships and things, they're not trying to break speed records. There's more about comfort. And we did talk to some people who rode on the SS United States, or who traveled on the SS United States, I should say, and they said it was not the most comfortable ride. It was fast, it was bumpy, it was windy, it was not the most comfortable ride. But the SS United States was designed to be just wide enough, 101 feet wide, so it could pass through the locks of the Panama Canal with 2 feet of clearance on either side. Massive, right? She was so innovative that at the time, the details of her construction were kept top secret. She was the first passenger liner to be built almost entirely in a graving dock where people couldn't watch what was happening. During her speed trials, she sliced through the waves going 38.32 knots, which is 44 miles per hour. She was opened up to the public back in July of 1952. Some 70,000 people turned out to see her. They did have 4 U.S. presidents sailed aboard the SS United States: Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John Kennedy, and Bill Clinton. They all sailed on the SS United States. Now, Clinton was not a president at the time, obviously. This is before he was the president. So it's just really impressive to know how many other people went on board as well. There were a lot of famous people, including Marlon Brando, Coco Chanel, Sean Connery, Gary Cooper, Walter Cronkite, Walt Disney, Duke Ellington, Judy Garland. The list goes on and on. So it's pretty interesting to see how the famous also wanted to ride or wanted to sail on board the SS United States. But I'm going to pull up those pictures again so that you can see what she looked like back in the day a little bit as well. It's fun to see what she looks like now, but it's also fun to see her kind of in her glory, right? And all of the people that rode or sailed or traveled on the SS United States when she made those voyages at just the fastest speed of everyone. You can see there that where she's being built, you can see that she's under construction there. There she is during speed trials, making her way through the water. We talked about 44 miles per hour, 38 knots. Very, very impressive, and kind of like one of the most modern, most impressive ships of her time. There she is returning from her maiden voyage. Very impressive to see, right? Okay, so we talked a little bit about what what's going to happen. The SS United States is going to be sunk off the coast of Destin Fort Walton Beach. When she is sunk, she's going to become what they say will be the largest artificial reef in the world. She's nearly 1,000 feet long, and when she this is a partnership that Okaloosa County officials have been working on, and they did buy the ship, and they bought the ship as a collaboration to put it as its final resting place. It's an agreement with Pensacola tourism officials, and they're contributing $1.5 million to the project. The Coastal Conservation Association of Florida kicking in $500,000, and they are looking at, some different things, and different things are going to be doing. But the contributions are used. They transform the SS United States into an artificial reef ready, and they're going to be putting her in the water, and we're talking about as early as April, she will be leaving Mobile. Once she is in place, the SS United States will sit at a depth of about 180 feet, which is 55 meters, but that vessel's so tall that the top decks are only going to be about 60 feet from the surface, making it attractive to both novice and experienced divers. The artificial reef will also be about 12 nautical miles away from the USS Oriskany, another popular dive destination that was sunk in 2006. So we know what's going to be happening to the actual ship, and this is going to be happening probably, they're hoping, in April that they bring this about. But some parts of the ship that have been removed are actually going to be a part of a museum. So they're going to be creating a museum and a visitor center, and they've collected a lot of the artifacts from the ship. Now remember, the ship was in its heyday in the 50s and the 60s. After that, it did do some sitting at a dock in Philadelphia. So in collecting some of those artifacts and those items, they are planning to put those on display at the museum, which is going to be set up in Florida. So, the SS United States is being transformed itself, the ship is, but then there are pieces of the ship that are actually going to be on display for you to see. So this design and development process, it's going to be one of the country's premier museum and exhibit designs, they say. It's going to be a comprehensive museum and cultural, you can get in there and feel like you were on board the ship at the time. These are some of the renderings of what this may look like, and notice that we do have two parts of the ship that we watched removed, right? Those are going to be a part of what the ship, the museum is going to be. So you can walk among those and see just how big and how massive they are. These are some of the renderings, though, that they say that is going to look like, which is pretty cool, right? To be able to go do that. It's going to incorporate some of the iconic components from the SS United States. It's going to have immersive experiences and interactive displays. It's going to have a collection of artifacts and art and all of that. So it's going to be neat to be able to see all of that when it is ready. But in the meantime, y'all, if you live here on the Gulf Coast, might be a good idea to kind of get used to getting ready, I should say, prepare yourself to say goodbye to something that we've really gotten used to when we drive through and we can see, on the side of the road, on the side of the interstate, we're kind of used to seeing the SS United States there on display. It is so, so, so impressive. And this has been something that's been of interest to many, many people. I know last year at Mardi Gras, people were lining up over there on that side of the fence where you just saw that dirt hill taking pictures of themselves with the ship, because it's iconic, it's history, it's a part of American culture, and it's something that is going to be sunk, so we will not see it again above water, likely in April. So again, that is the timeline. If this is something that you haven't gotten a chance to see yet, and it's something you want to see in person, you may want to make your way over. Again, you can't get on it. You really can't get that close to it there. Our fence is set up for your safety because a lot of things being pulled off the ship. We talked about fuel and oil and, parts that aren't safe for people to be around, but you can get to right there. That's an area you can get to. There's a chain link fence there and barbed wire. You can get on the other side of it, the side that, not the ship side, and you can get a pretty good view of it and really get a perspective of just how enormous it is. It is so impressive, and it's something that we have so enjoyed having in Mobile, something that we have been able to see since March, and I think we're all going to be a little bit sad as it leaves. We will, of course, keep you updated on the specific date. We'll let you know about viewing parties. We'll let you know about all of that. But just wanted to give you a heads up that the SS United States, it looks like April is going to be the departure timeline from Mobile to take it off the coast of Destin Fort Walton Beach. It's going to be 22 miles out there, and it's going to be sunk as the world's largest artificial reef. So get out there and see it, y'all. You can see it from the interstate. It is so impressive, and it's so neat to see. And those videos that we have, I'm going to show them one more time because I just think they're really cool. Those videos that we have of the SS United States, let me pull it up for us, where they were, when it was towed, right, when it was being moved. Let's look at it one more time because it's very, very cool. Of it being moved, here we go. There it is. How cool is this? This is just amazing. It's history. It's history that we've had here along the Gulf Coast, and it's going to make history being the world's largest artificial reef. So definitely, y'all, make plans to go see it if that's something that, you haven't been able to see yet. It's something to check out.